Screw it. What the hell? What the hell was that shit? You got 2 games left in your season. And the door is wide open for us to just waltz right into the Champions League. Even after we screwed up time and time again, lost to Watford, lost to Bournemouth, lost to Man U, lost to Man City, 4 losses in a row, knocked us out of the top 4. And it looked like there's no chance of us getting back in. Then we put together some results. Tottenham started dropping off. Liverpool dropped off. We have a chance to get back in. We have Huddersfield and Newcastle the last 2 days of the season. Huddersfield, admittedly, fighting for their lives, it's going to be tough. But you know what? We're fighting for our Champions League lives. We should be putting in a better performance, and we are the better team. Newcastle have absolutely nothing to play for. Lost 4 games in a fucking row. And we go to their place to get crushed! Are you kidding me? And it all starts from that dumbass Conte. Because guess what? He's lost his mind. Between putting out such a weak lineup in the last game against Huddersfield, he then goes and puts not only Barkley and Bakayoko both on the field. Barkley's coming off of an injury, and Bakayoko, he's awful, alright? Just stop. He had a couple good games at the beginning of the season. He's not getting better. He's the same. And then you put Cahill out there and take Rudiger out of the back 3. Are you kidding me? And then on top of all of that, the lack of energy, it has to come from him. It has to come from the coaching staff. Because there's no way professionals who are playing for a club like Chelsea would go out there and put in such an uncaring performance if it didn't come from the fact that Conte's probably put that out there. He's probably the one that gives them that lack of motivation. There's no way they do it to themselves. There's no possible way. So, I'm done with Conte. He's done, in my opinion. He's gone. Move him on. Honestly, I'd prefer we just go ahead and sack him before the FA Cup final to actually give ourselves a chance of winning something this year. Because I'm telling you right now, if Conte is still in charge when we get to the FA Cup final, we're not winning that thing. There's no fucking way we're going to win that. Because guess what? We're terrible under Conte. It's been proven so many times this season. And these last 2 games, chance to go back into the Champions League? Nah, we're gonna put out Pedro and Zappacosta and Bakayoko. We're gonna put out Pedro and Zappacosta and Murata last game, and then this game we're gonna put in Barkley and Bakayoko. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. You know what? Let's go with that 3 in the midfield thing again because that works so well for us. It's stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. Getting beaten 3-0 by Newcastle should never happen. If we get beat 1-0 because they just held their ground all game and then they counterattacked on us and got a late goal, okay, well, at least it's because that's how Benitez plays. That's his game. No, they were at us from the beginning of the game. They had control of possession. They had the best chances. They dominated the game against us today. They looked like the better team. Newcastle looked like the better team today. If that is not a sign that Conte's done at our club, I don't know what is. So, I'm just saying it right now. After that, he should be gone. We need to have somebody else step in, have the players motivated for the FA Cup final so we can actually have a chance of winning it. Because right now, we're going to go in and we're going to get embarrassed by Man U. And I don't know about you guys, but I sure as hell do not want to get embarrassed by Man U. Because that's just... we've already been embarrassed by 3 clubs that had no right to, Watford, Bournemouth, and now Newcastle. We have no reason to get embarrassed by those clubs. But to get embarrassed by a rival like Man U, that's pretty much a slap in the face. And so they've got to make the decision now. They've got to call it today and say, okay, this is a sign. We can't trust him to take the team into the final. Let's move him on. We already know it was going to happen at the end of the year. He hasn't looked like he's wanted the job. He hasn't looked motivated. The team hasn't looked as motivated as they were last year under him. Clearly, he's been out of the job for a while. But I thought, you know what? Maybe he'll at least finish the season strong, get us in the Champions League, so that way he looks better to all these teams that probably want him next season. But instead, it's like he just lost all interest. He lost any sort of care and passion and fire that he had. And so, honestly, I'm kind of shocked. Either he already has another job lined up so he doesn't feel like he has to try, or for some reason he's just like, whatever, screw it, I don't care. I don't like this job anyway. But whatever the case, Conte's done. Individuals, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There are some people that should not be at the club here next year. Courtois, we got to hold on to him. First half performance was fantastic. I felt bad for him because he just pretty much got pummeled for most of the game and had to make some great saves. We got to hold on to him. Azpilicueta, we got to hold on to him. You know, he was working his butt off out there. He's doing everything he can. But when he's, one man and he's getting constantly attacked, I mean, it's difficult. Christensen, I don't know what's going on with him. We need to get his confidence back up because he's not the same player he's been. He did have his moments where I'm just like, this is the defender I've seen for most of the season. So I do see moments where I'm just like, we need to keep him and we need to get his confidence back. But at the same time, I do feel like we need to try to find some better options. Cahill, gone. Cut him now. All right? I'm sick of him. I'm sick of watching him, our captain. Every time he's in, our defense looks so disorganized. He doesn't organize things. He doesn't track players. He doesn't close down crosses. The first goal that happened, guess who's not closing down the ball? Cahill. I wonder how many times that's happened this season. I can count at least 5. I don't understand why he continues to play. Why he's our captain. He doesn't deserve it. He's not a good defender. We need to move him on right now. Honestly, Rudiger should have started today. He should be playing in the back three with Christensen and Azpilicueta because that's our best back three. And I'm not saying things would have gone that much better because we still had a few other problem players on the field, but that would be at least a better back three that would have kept us in it a little bit longer. Wingbacks wise, we need to get some new wingbacks in. Moses has pretty much lost any sort of flair or originality that he had when he first took over the right wingback role. Teams have figured him out. They know what he's going to do. They know how to shut him down now. We need to get somebody else in there who's going to do something different. And don't say Zappacosta because he's awful. All right, he doesn't bring anything else to the field that Moses doesn't, aside from the fact that he doesn't defend. So there's your problem there. Emerson, I haven't seen anything from Alonso this season. Emerson has looked good enough to at least give himself a chance, but today he just looked completely useless. So, I don't know. We need to go get another left wing back. We need to get somebody who's going to either challenge Moses for the spot or give us something a little bit different on that right wing back role that might actually bring something original and useful to the field. In the middle, Conte, obviously we got to keep him. He was the only midfielder we had today. Whenever you're defending and you've got 3 midfielders in the midfield, you expect at least 2 of those midfielders to be tracking players and trying to do the defensive side of it. Conte was the only one doing that today. So he's good. He's great. He's a great player. But he's not a one-man team. As much as we like to think of him as that, he is not a one-man team. Especially when there's 3 midfielders on the other team in the midfield. He definitely can't do that on his own. And so the fact that it was more like he and Bakayoko were a bit more defensive and Barkley had the freedom to sort of roam. But Bakayoko's not doing anything because he's a lazy-ass motherfucker. So, clearly, we need to move Bakayoko on. And that's just, I realize we spent a big price on him. I realize, he's young. We got to give him a chance to grow. He's not. He's not getting any better. He's still lazy. And the thing is, if it were just the technical side of the game, if it were just some physical things they had to work on, I'd be like, you know what? He's young. He has a chance to grow. But when it's laziness, when it's a lack of tracking players, when it's a lack of work ethic, you can't coach that. I'm sorry. I coach high school. I see players like this all the time. Tons of technical ability, lack of effort. And they're never going to change. They're the same exact player. It's the attitude. It's all up here. Unless you get a coach that breaks that attitude, which I thought Conte might be the one, but because he's apathetic too, obviously he's not going to. Bakayoko's not going to be anything. He's just going to be a big body player out there whose only job is to win balls out of the air. And that's all he's going to bring because he's not working hard enough to earn himself a spot on the field. So he's got to be done. Honestly, if he sees the field in the FA Cup final, we're probably going to lose. Barkley, I mean, he's coming back from injury. Yes, he hasn't seen a whole lot of playing time, so you could give him that excuse. But it just feels like, I mean, so many wasted opportunities that come from his passes or a couple times his shots. I feel like he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have the finishing quality that we need. And that's a problem. We need players that have finishing quality, and he doesn't have that part of it. So he didn't really defend much. He didn't help us on the attack much. He's kind of a cone today. And the big problem I have with that is Willian was on fire last game, but didn't have the help around him to really get the job done. So why not put him in this game? Because that's our strongest lineup. And what is it, like a week until the FA Cup final? It's not like you're resting him for the final. You still got plenty of time for them to rest up, so why not start Willian today? I mean, here's the thing. I forgot to reference this at the beginning. Basically, here's my problem with today. It's not the fact that we're not in the Champions League. I already knew after the Huddersfield game that was not going to happen. It was going to take a miracle for Brighton to beat Liverpool. I knew we were done. However, it's our last game of the season. So you've already thrown away our chance at Champions League, but we still have an FA Cup final to play for. So, last game of the season, put out your best lineup, give them momentum going into the FA Cup final, let them feel like we can do this. So, that's all I'm looking for today, is a win and a good performance to feel like, okay, we've got a chance against Man U. But, instead, he puts out this lineup. He makes a bunch of changes. He goes with the two up top again. He goes with Barkley and Bakayoko in the midfield. This isn't our strongest lineup. And now we lose 3-0 away, and you don't even give them energy and motivation and passion to fight. So, anyway, back to the individuals. Hazard and Giroud, pretty much nothing from them in the first half. Second half, Giroud actually started stepping it up a little bit. Hazard got a little bit of space finally. And then, of course, they both get subbed off because Conte's method is let's sub our best players and not our worst players. So, yeah, that's a problem. Murata came on. First thing I saw from him was an offsides. No shock there. Willian, at that point, it was kind of too late in the game for him to really do anything, so I didn't really see much from him. And then Pedro just came on. I don't know why. But basically, none of the subs really had any effect on the game. So, that's pretty much it. It felt good to scream a little bit. It felt good to vent about it, and that's honestly why I started making these videos in the first place, because this was during Mourinho's terrible season, so I needed an outlet to vent my frustrations. But honestly, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to get frustrated. I don't want to be screaming and yelling. I prefer to be celebrating. And if we win FA Cup final, I'm still going to say Conte out, because based on this season as a whole, he doesn't deserve to be the Chelsea manager anymore. But, I mean, I'll celebrate, and it's something that I want to celebrate. It's something that I want to feel like, let's not let this season be for nothing. There were times this season and Mourinho's last season where I was thinking to myself, maybe bad things need to happen for us to sort of wake up and see, okay, we need to make a change. There are times that those thoughts did pop into my mind, but overall, I prefer to be successful. Now, does a change need to happen? Absolutely. Because we saw, based on this season, our transfers not doing enough. We saw, based on Man City this season, that clearly, because FIFA Fair Play is absolutely a joke, you have to buy players if you want to win the title. You have to buy a new team if you want to win the title, because that's what it takes. And unfortunately, it's the La Liga formula, it's the Bundesliga formula, it's the Serie A formula. Those one or two teams are always challenging for the title because they buy the best players each season. And even though the Premier League hasn't really been like that, because you've had a few top teams that all bring in some good players but never really break the bank to go buy a new team until this season with Man City. I mean, now we've got to realize that's just the way it's going to be. And FIFA Fair Play, if they were going to do something, they would have already said something to Man City. But clearly, they're not going to. Honestly, they probably should have said something to Man U as well, because they've spent so much over the past 3 years. But, that's where, because we're a bit more of a, even Arsenal, you look at Arsenal and Arsene Wenger, he's the same type of thought process as far as money is concerned. Not necessarily like us. He actually prefers to make money for the club instead of just going out and wasting a ton of money on all these players just to be competitive. So you're seeing where that thought process, the thought process of we're going to bring in some players, we're going to bring in those one or two players to tweak the system a little bit, but overall we're going to try to make the club money. That idea has slowly been fading away, and that's why Arsene Wenger's slowly been dropping down the table, because that mindset doesn't work anymore. Because slowly the Premier League is turning into those other leagues where it's like, oh, the team that spends the most money, that's the teams that wins it. And that's why, the past 2 years when Chelsea won it, when Leicester won it, it was like, oh, look, Leicester, club that didn't spend a lot of money, but they had a lot of passion. They ended up winning. Chelsea last year didn't spend a lot of money, but you know what? Conte came in, passion, players were fighting for every game, and they won. And then this season, Pep comes in, he's just like, you know what? I'm going to spend a ton of money. Let's buy a whole new team, and then they end up winning. And we are still here. Similar players to last year. We sold some of our best players to make money and then bought some new players with that money. And look at where we are. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry for ranting so much. Sorry if my outburst at the beginning upset you or scared you or something. But, I mean, that's just how I feel. And I want to keep these reviews as truthful as possible. So, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for Chelsea views. I'll see you guys at the FA Cup final. Peace out.